If you've been in a toxic relationship or if you've been in an abusive relationship and you feel like life will never be good again, or you feel like you keep attracting this into your life, please watch this video. I'm going to talk about what I've learned since I rebuilt my life, and I'm really hoping that it will give you the confidence that you can lean into, that you can change your life, and life can be anything you want it to be. I promise you it can. The first thing I did was involve professionals. I'm not going to go into this too much right now in this video, but I involved the police and I involved a local charity for survivors of abuse. For me, I'm in Milton Keynes. That was MK Act. Super easy. Google charities, toxic relationships, abusive relationships. That did several things for me. It validated what I had been through, and it gave me just the confidence to do the rest of this work that I'm going to talk about. So that's the number one thing that I did. The second thing I did was accepted that if I wanted to be in different relationships or a different person, what the first thing I needed to work on was my relationship with myself. That's number one thing. You literally cannot have a great relationship with someone else if you don't have a great relationship with yourself. So for me, it was about getting to know myself. I was in my early 40s and it was, what do I like? Who am I? What don't I like? What triggers me? What makes me feel healthy and happy? And taking the time to do that really helped me. Learning to sit with my uncomfortable feelings was huge. We all go through things, and it's very easy to go, oh, that feels really sad. That was really scary. That was really traumatic. Cool. I've added words to it. I've said it's a thing. I'm going to lock it up and not look at it again. But what I found is that if I didn't address these things, and I'd been in this situation, to clarify, 10 years before I was in an abusive relationship. And so for me, the reason all of this was so important is that I'm like, I've been here once before. I thought I learned everything. 10 years later, I found myself in the situation again, only this time it also impacted my kids, and I was not okay with that. So for me, I had a massive drive to understand what I could do differently and how to be a different person. And a big part of that was learning that, yeah, it was scary. I felt vulnerable. It was really sad. I was very sad at the time I'd lost. I had huge feelings of guilt and shame around the situation, and learning to sit with that and not run away from it really helped me. This is going to sound nuts. It's a real thing that I did. Dating myself. I've dated myself for a year and a half after I got out of the situation. I actually documented this on TikTok. I'll drop my TikTok in the comments. So if you want to have a look, some of the footage on TikTok is could be quite triggering. So be mindful of that if you go through to the TikTok, because it's graphic. But back to dating myself. I wanted to do something that would take massive action to rebuild my love for myself, or to build my love for myself. I'm not sure that I ever had it at the level I have it now. So I started dating myself, took myself to the cinema, took myself to the theater, took myself for meals. I took myself on holidays. I took myself on walks. I went on picnics. I'm not joking. I literally dated myself. And at first it felt really uncomfortable because we all think everyone else is paying attention to us. Everyone else wants to know what we're doing. Why are we sitting there by ourselves? She's probably been stood up. Oh, how sad is it that no one wanted to come with her to this music show or to this theater? Let me tell you, no one cares. No one is paying any attention to anything you're doing. That's what I found in my experiment. And it was the most love building thing I've ever done for myself. And now I can do anything by myself at any time and love it. And I don't feel less than for not having someone else. But the magic is, if I share these experiences with someone else now, A, it's because I've chosen to, because they're going to add to it. And B, it's just so much more of a nourishing situation. So yeah, dating myself, that was a thing. Learning about my own triggers, my own vulnerabilities, and being very honest with what's happened to me in my life and what things happen now and how do they trigger me. That gave me a sense of confidence and control that I didn't feel like I had before. And for me personally, I feel like that has completely taken away the possibility of me becoming or me getting into a codependent relationship again. I don't think that could ever happen because I have a much deeper understanding of myself now. Learning that you can't fake happy. Mantras are great, affirmations are great, but the world isn't rainbows and bubbles. When you've been through something as awful as abuse or a toxic relationship or any other situation in your life that just makes you feel horrendous, when someone says to you, you know, sit and stand in the mirror and say, I am loved, I am worthy, I'm great. These are great things. I'm not disparaging them. They're great things, but it's not enough when you are damaged by something. So accepting that was a great thing for me, but also learning to believe, even fake believe, that positive things are going to happen, but then looking for evidence that the positive things are happening. That changed things for me. That started a new spiral because we have a negative bias in our minds, right? We all have this. We look for the most negative in any situation. Then we look for confirmation that we're right, that the negative thing is in fact happening. We were right all along. And you can rewire that, I found. So I found that telling myself positive things were going to happen and then going, oh, look, that just happened. That's confirmation that the positive things are coming. That really helped me. There's a lot of acceptance in healing from something like this. And one of the things I had to accept was that life ebbs and flows. It just does. Nothing is ever going to be all good. Nothing is ever going to be all bad. This too shall pass was so pertinent for me and made a huge difference in my healing journey because it meant when I had and have, I still have this every day. If I have a bad experience, I know it's not going to last. If I feel anxious or I haven't slept well or if I feel poorly, I mean, this relates now on a daily level. If things are feeling like they're a struggle, I know it's going to pass. And accepting that really helped. Life just does ebb and flow. Nothing is always going to be great all the time. And also for me, again, I feel that helped me not look for things to be perfect, even in relationships with friends, my children, romantic relationship. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. For me, it just helps to accept in life that it ebbs and flows. When it's really good, it's not going to stay that good. When it's really bad, it's not going to stay that bad. And that's okay. That's just part of the human life experience. And for me, that was like a massive wake up call, actually understanding that and living it. Another huge thing that I did is I changed my life, like completely changed my life. Everything about it. I changed my house. I changed the decor in my house. I moved. So this is my bedroom and office right now. I moved out of this room into the smallest bedroom in the house. I gave my daughter this room and she had this for years. And I've only just moved back in now, years later, because I just needed a new place to sleep. I needed to not have any association with the environment that I had. I've had my kitchen completely remodeled. I built myself a new office out in the garden in a summer house. I did things like that around my practical environment. And I also changed my routines massively. So I changed the gym that I went to. I changed the places that I get coffee. I changed the places that I hang out with my friends. And that really helped. So changing my environment and my routines, that was huge for me. I also changed my entire career. Now, that might not work for everyone, but for me, it was really important because I had been a photographer my whole life. Age 17, I started work as a photographer, had some incredible experiences, especially in the music industry. It was phenomenal, but I'd made the mistake of combining my business with his business. He was also a photographer. And so it just felt awful to me. I had no love for it anymore. I associated it with all the bad things that had happened. And I'd done it for 20 years. So I just thought, well, okay, let's have a new career. And I realized that I'd been coaching people through my teaching for years. So I leaned into that and I retrained and I got my coaching certification. And that's what I do now for work. And I love it. And I'm so happy. Probably seemed a bit nuts to a lot of people. In fact, I know it seemed a bit nuts because I was a very successful photographer and I had done it for so long. And I have 2 degrees in photography, 2, not even like a normal person. Why have I got 2 degrees in photography? One's in photographic arts, one was in photography. I got them like 12 years apart. I don't know. I'm an overachiever. What can I say? But for me, changing my career has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And it wasn't easy. In fact, I think it took me a full 2 years to be certain about what it was that I wanted to do. 2 years, 2 years of just knowing I was going to change my life, change my career, and not knowing what I wanted to do. 2 flipping years it took me. But I gave myself that time. Time is probably the biggest thing I have given myself through this whole process. Time to heal, time to get professionals involved, time to understand myself, time to get to know myself, time to love myself, time to figure out what I want. And honestly, my life has never been better than it is now. I am obsessed with my life. I love it so much. My home life is so peaceful and it's creative and it's loving. I have very little stress in my life. And I just love myself. And that is something so powerful. And I'm grateful to myself that I gave myself that chunk of time to do all of this work. Now, some of these things might work for you, all of these things might work for you. I don't know. But I'm just saying this is what has worked for me. This has been my process from being completely and utterly broken to having this incredible life with such depth and such security, emotional security, which is, as you know, if you've been in a toxic relationship, worth more than anything else. So I hope this has been helpful. I'll drop my TikTok into the comments. So if you want to go back and you want to have a look at the stuff that I was recording while I was going through this, go ahead. As always, guys, have the best day.